Welcome to Aquí, Estamos with Latino USA TV. We are proud to bring you this show because we want to make sure that you are informed and you know how to take action during these uncertain times. My name is Raquel Teran. I'm a former legislator, former chair of the Arizona Democratic Party, but I'm also a community organizer. So we want to make sure that through these conversations, you have the tools to take action. That is why today our first guest is Alejandra Gomez, Executive Director for Lucha, Arizona. They are a premier civic engagement organization in our state and has taken on the fights for economic justice and immigration reform. Alejandra, my sister, thank you for being our first guest.
Thank you so much. And you forgot to say that you're an all-around badass.
We are all around.
We are.
And we stand on shoulders of many people who have organized in our communities. And I'm so glad that we get to partner in many different ways. But we want the audience to know more about you. How did Alejandra Gomez become the executive director of Lucha? And what is your vision for Arizona?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me here in this space. It's such an important time, and people need to know that there are ways to get plugged in. I didn't know that when I was younger. My family came from California during our SB 1070 moment and this current authoritarian moment that we're experiencing. There was a anti-immigrant wave in California, and my father decided, being an undocumented person, that we were gonna run. And so we came to Arizona, and 20 years later, we had Sheriff Joe Arpaio doing the same thing. And so what I learned is that you can't run. You have to stay and you have to fight. And that there are people in the community doing work, that there are community members that are advocating, that are going out and marching, that are registering people to vote, that are knocking on doors to make sure that people use their civic power. And I am so fortunate to say and be sitting across from the person that pulled me into the movement. And years later, to understand that I could still be sitting here in a different role and that we don't have to give up on making sure that justice can be done for our communities. Because as organizers, what we consider ourselves are brokers of hope. That we can pave a path.
Yeah. Absolutely. I love that. And, you know, you just shared your story of self, right? It's like how we connect with our communities is through making sure that we know who we are and what we're pushing forward. And I would love for everybody to also know not only about you, but Lucha is an organization that's pushing forward in this moment in time that you've been sounding the alarm that this is an authoritarian regime.
That's right.
And tell us a little bit more about Lucha, but also the role it's playing in fighting back.
Absolutely. You know, a lot of the infrastructure in Arizona, in particular Lucha, with so many other organizations, were born out of SB 1070.
Yeah.
It was young people that decided that they were going to do something about the threats, the attacks from Sheriff Arpaio. And what we learned is that when you go out to a community and you listen to people, people know what they want.
Yes.
People know what to do. And so Lucha began to listen, began to build teams in community, in neighborhoods. And our community members were telling us that immigration was a core issue and they were going to keep fighting, but that also they couldn't pay the rent.
Right.
They couldn't pay their utilities, and that they needed a living wage. And so fortunately enough, we had a team of community members that were saying, let's fight this. And so they passed a minimum wage and they said, let's keep winning. And our community said, we have an imagination, but we also have the ganas to fight.
Yeah.
And so that's what we're seeing now, right? Lucha was born from a scrappy, small but mighty moment. And now we're across the state And I'm so grateful to all of our leaders that get up every single day to go work their job, and then they come and they work their justice.
Well, 15 años, and everybody who's watching, you all know what it means to have a quinceañera. Lucha.
Yes, we just celebrated our quinceañera.
It's a quinceañera. Yeah, you're an organization that has been tested through many things, and this moment in time when we have a federal government that's attacking our communities on every issue at all levels, you all have been in the forefront. So I think it's important for people at home to know how to connect with Lucha, to make sure that they're plugged in and they're taking action in their own communities. How do they connect with you?
You know, they can find us on social media. So, and also our website, luchaaz.org. That's the fastest way to connect with us. Send us an email, and we have organizers across the state. Right now, there is no small action.
Amen. That's true.
If someone sends a postcard to their legislator, if someone knocks on a door, if someone wants to have a house meeting in their neighborhood, do a know your rights, right now is the time. Right, you have been really at the forefront of this immigration fight, which is actually an authoritarian fight. Right now, we're seeing a regime that wants to have a total capture over our democracy, and they're using and scapegoating our communities as usual. And you have been saying that, no, you cannot have this moment, and you cannot have our democracy. And we have been following you. And we have just been seeing so many people that want to give from small dollars to big dollars to agua to frijoles, to go knock on doors, right? Every single thing matters right now.
We cannot let the minimum be the maximum.
That's right.
We have to live that. Yeah, we every small action adds up, and that brings upon change, and that's what we need at this moment. We need people involved. Alejandra, you know the show is called Aquí Estamos.
Yes.
And we have a chant when we're out in the community, we're marching, and it says, Aquí estamos y no nos vamos. Yeah, we're here and not going anywhere. What does that mean to you? Aquí estamos.
What it means to me is that I was born of people that are from the Americas. This is our land. We are indigenous to this continent. And that means that we have a right to be advocating for our communities, to be advocating for every single ounce of dignity and humanity. And they can't have that. They can't have our spirit. And they don't, because we still have quinceañeras.
Yes.
We still have the celebrations for our mothers, our fathers, our ninas, our tias, and they won't steal our joy.
They will not steal our joy. We will bring banda like you've done in the past last year. It was incredible how you all were turning out the vote.
We had eslabón armado.
Yes, figuring out what our communities need, right? So let's be innovative. Let's remember where we come from. Let's talk about the lane that Lucha has taken at the state legislature. It's not an easy one because you all are advocating, you're fighting against bad bills, but you're also trying to push forward the best budget for Arizona. So it integrates everything from economic justice to the fight back against extreme legislation against immigrant communities. So share what's happening at the legislature and what is Lucha doing there?
Yeah, you know, for quite some time, I remember during SB 1070, we were not even allowed inside of the Capitol. And so we made it our mission to really begin to build power there. And there was about 7 to 8 years where we really didn't see anti-immigrant legislation, but we really did see economic attacks. Right. So after the minimum wage was passed, we saw the Republicans trying to repeal the increase to the minimum wage that we passed through the ballot measure.
Which Lucha was the one who put it on the ballot.
We put it on the ballot. Voters said, yes, this is what we want, and we won. And so now it's at 15.15. Which is a tremendous feat from being $7 an hour for Arizonans. And so now we are here in this moment where Trump has charged all Republicans to attack immigrants, not only in a macro sense through the federal agenda with ICE, but also at legislatures. And so last year, Republicans came out with 13 anti-immigrant bills. And because we have been doing work at the legislature to convene all of the partners, also educate legislators, and begin to build an agenda through our People First Economy Coalition, we were ready for this moment. So we're really proud to say that through the advocacy, through deep education with legislators, through deep education with partners, being able to understand where there was some leverage with certain Republicans, where the governor stood on some of these pieces of legislation, we were able to defeat all 13.
Yeah.
But what we were also saying through the budget is, why would we put more money toward border security when we can't even fund our education?
Right.
When we're struggling with Arizonans being able to pay their rent. So we saw rent eviction dollars, and we saw no new money to the border. So that was a tremendous effort with all of our partners, led by Lucha through our People First Economy Coalition. And so we're now entering the legislature, and we are asking all Arizonans to get involved, because we know that this legislative session is going to be even tougher from what we're seeing with ICE.
And what I find, I think it's amazing to see that Lucha has not only engaged through social media, but you all are really intentional about reaching the communities where they are. And the door knocking program is connected to this work that you guys are doing at the legislature.
That's right.
So share more about what we all are doing at the doors.
You know, since last year, we have been knocking in our community's doors and really trying to understand how our communities feel about not only the economy, but what has been happening in seeing what's being deployed by ICE. And not only is it our community that is feeling attacked by ICE, but what has been very striking and a deep sense of allyship is that communities from Paradise Valley, communities from Arcadia, these are more affluent, more white communities that are saying, I didn't mean to vote for this. I absolutely regret voting for Trump. And I want to see a stop to it. So now we're seeing actual other communities join hand in hand, because also what happened with Renee Good, and may she rest in power, it was a reminder that this isn't solely about immigration. This is about this regime, this administration gearing up and deploying a other apparatus to be able to carry out Trump's agenda. And so now there is not only people marching by the hundreds of thousands, but there's everyday voters that might have not been politicized that are paying attention, and they want to stop it.
Yeah. Well, there you go. We know that at the state legislature, we need to be present, but we also need to reach people where they are. Door knocking is key. That personal connection, that relationship is key for us to transform the state of Arizona. And you all have been doing an amazing job. I look forward to partnering with you in all capacities, my sister. Aquí estamos y no nos vamos.
Aquí estamos y no nos vamos.
I want to thank everybody for joining us on this inaugural show. We will be back next week.